weekly paycheck, and many jobs come with benefits that start on your first day. That's higher pay, sign-on bonuses, benefits day one. And you'll be part of a safe and inclusive workplace ranked among the best in the world. Go to Amazon.com/apply to start your job search today. Amazon is proud to be an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Doug Lazy. Come on out and join us for the 2021 Foothill Wine Festival. It's happening Saturday, November 20th at the Palladio in Folsom. Featuring over 50 wineries from California's Sierra Foothill wine region, small bites and live music. This makes for the perfect date night and a little relaxing time before the holiday craziness. This super fun event held at the Palladio will kick off your holiday season at Folsom's premier shopping, dining, and entertainment venue. Tickets are on sale now at FoothillWinefest.com. That's FoothillWinefest.com.
Selling your home, you need options. Because the fact of the matter is, selling your home is not one size fits all.
And at the Radio Realtors, we're all about options.
Yeah, maybe your home is in great condition and a traditional sale with a targeted marketing approach that gets you multiple offers over list price is what you want.
Or maybe you would sell if you had the perfect home to move to. Then our Dream Home Finder program is your best option.
Or maybe your home needs a little sprucing up to get top dollar. Then our quick fix and list option, where we pay for the repairs up front, is what you need.
Or maybe you have a house that's a real fixer and you just don't have the time, energy, or money to deal with it, and you need a competitive all-cash offer.
We do that too.
And just like you, we hate pushy salespeople.
And we hate gimmicks.
But we do love helping you get a premium for your home, whatever your situation is. Call or text us right now at 833-32-RADIO.
That's 833-32-RADIO.
If you owe back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, listen carefully. Before it's too late, check your eligibility for the Fresh Start program still offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problems. Call our special hotline number now and find out in minutes if you qualify for these life-changing debt reduction programs. Business or personal, if you're in a payment plan with no end in sight, have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bankruptcy, or finally just want to know your options, call the experts at Republic Tax Relief and stop collections immediately. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau with a 5-star rating from Yelp, this veteran-owned company has the fight you need to take on the IRS. Don't go it alone. Call their hotline number now, 800-761-2209. That's 800-761-2209. Find out if you qualify today. Call 800-761-2209.
Is it time for a new dining room set? Then don't miss Naturewood Home Furnishings in-stock dining sale going on now. Naturewood has over 70 dining sets in stock and ready to go for your holiday entertaining. And all dining room furniture is on sale. Every table, every chair, hutch, and buffet. Styles from casual to formal. Come visit Naturewood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices. And
Brooklyn and Nova, thank you.
.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It is also illegal for employers to retaliate against you for complaining about unlawful activity in the workplace. California law also requires that you get paid for all hours that you are under the control of the employer, including waiting in line for security checks, COVID-19 temperature checks, or responding to COVID-19 questionnaires on your mobile device. If you believe your rights were violated, call 818-263-7343.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and a lot of good old boys who love sports all around the world. I really want to say bienvenidos, Rondo Deportes, the Vinny Vici. It's all fair and level war on a beautiful November the 5th, 2021. Welcome to the show. Today's show sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive real, just tell them Charlton and Big C Center, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars all around the world. You just got to pay for the car before you drive it. If that makes sense to you. All fair level or Big C Sports. It's all around the world on 17 podcast applications. On a happy Friday, you can follow us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast. You can find us on iHeartRadio, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, GeoSavan, Podtail Podcast. Also, Podcast Addict, Hubhopper, Stitcher, Radio Line, Luminary, and a lot of smart applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Love saying give it praise, give it praise, give it praise on a beautiful happy Friday in Northern California. Also on 4 TV platforms. If you want to follow Big C Sports on television, you can also find us on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Really do appreciate that. It's all fair and level where I love bringing in Big C Sports Podcast. I love paying homage to my family legacy on my mother's side. Called her Mamo. She was the matriarch of the family. My great-grandmother always made sure the family stuck together through thick and thin. Always had food in our bellies and made us all feel loved, all fair and level war. And then my grandfather, his name is Pop, played Negro League baseball back in the day. Really appreciate that. Also made the best moonshine in the history of the universe. Always said, boy, get out of that barn. That's what I really remember. But also a lot of good times had back in the day. On my mother's side, my grandmother called her Mud Deer. She was actually a seer. She could see things and tell you about things that were going to happen to you. And oftentimes, I didn't really understand it until I got older, and she still shows up today. It's amazing how things happen. And then is also a very good business person. And then Hezekiah, my grandfather, also a very good man, made sure the family stayed together. And then my beautiful mother started a Head Start program in Northern California and also helped us win a Little League championship of the universe. Give us some praise. Give the mama some praise. One of the best mothers in the history of the universe. Really appreciate that. So many things have come true that have been talked about. Really appreciate that. At the same time, on my father's side, the patriarch of the family is Albert Curry. He was a pastor, built 2 churches in Oakland, California. Also had 2 service stations in Oakland, California. Very intelligent businessman. And then the matriarch on my father's side, my grandmother, Alberta Curry, she helped my grandfather build a church, actually 2 churches, and helped run the service station in Oakland, California. Then my father, he retired Air Force fighter pilot and chief mechanic. The United States Air Force really appreciate that. Develop your mind to this highest level, all fair and level war. Then my brother Todd, that's why I yell so much. I channel my voice. My brother Todd, always one of the loudest voices in the universe. Really appreciate that. All fair and level war. I love paying homage to my family when I do the sports show, all fair and level war. I love honoring my son Malcolm, who helps me put together a lot of NBA stats. He's all over it. Gives me stats for the NBA, also some college basketball games coming up. Really do appreciate that. And my daughter Daisy at times will help me set up for sporting events when college coaches will come to the West Coast. So really appreciate all the hard work. Give them all praise. And then Big C in the past with his wealth of knowledge. Give them all praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. Really do appreciate that. As crowds are getting ready all over this great country to celebrate games and football games. I really do appreciate bringing up my family legacy. As I say, I really love saying this. My grandfather used to say it back in the day after he got out of that moonshine barn. Let's get ready to rumble. Really do appreciate let's get ready to rumble. As I say, Big C Sports, as we nominated Big C Sports. No scripts, no 3-way teleprompters, no producer in my ear, just a little bit of earwax, nothing wrong with that. And then I love, as I honor the show, I always say pay homage to God. I say one of the favorite scriptures in the Bible is Genesis 13:15. For all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And the book of James 4:2 said, we have not because we ask not. So make sure you ask. If you want something, you got to ask. The answer is either yes or no, and oftentimes it's no if you don't ask. And what I love about Big C Sports, I produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast all the show, I do all the sound effects, I do the commercials outside of what the agency does in New York City, and then I provide the stats. There's a lot of stats being provided over the weekend for football and also basketball on all levels. And then I do the storytelling. Excuse me that I'm breaking concentration. Our guest who's coming to dinner. And I do the play-by-play. Touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. I think you got to be an old-time Oakland Raider fan to understand old man Willie when he has a pick 6 in the Super Bowl. And then I do the upload of the show. It goes to 17 podcast platforms and 4 TV platforms all over the universe. Really appreciate that. And nobody can tell me that it's not a hard thing to do because sometimes I screw up. It's all fair life. You can't screw up unless you're trying. That's why I love trying. Give BC Sports some praise. Give it praise, praise, praise. I love that. Also, I want to just give a special announcement because oftentimes I meet people in the strangest of places, but Frances Wright, she loves military veterans, has a nonprofit organization in Northern California, and it's called Angel Wings of Armor.org. That's angelwingsofArmor.org. It's an event each year that gives on a Cinderella night. They have designers, and also they do a lot of things to help with the veterans. It's called Queen's Chair and Cinderella Night Under the Stars, and a lot of people can get involved. Wings, it's called angelwingsofArmor.org. That's angelwingsofArmor.org. So I want to also make sure that I give a shout out to that and give that some praise. Give Angel Wings of Armor some praise. Really appreciate that. As you know, very near and dear to me for every show since Big C introduced it, Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. We all need somebody to lean on. Every now and then people fall through the cracks and they need help. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255, or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online like a lot of people do, go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net, and you can definitely get some help for our military veterans and their loved ones. Give them all praise. Don't just say we thank our military. Give them praise. Big C Sports love to honor our military veterans. Do it on every show. Also, very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV at the one-time first place San Francisco Giants. Maybe they'll be back next year. Congratulations, Atlanta Braves, for winning the 2021 World Series. They actually had two parades in Atlanta today. One for the black part of town, the other for the white part of town. If you can believe that crap still goes on. Also, thoughts and prayers to the General Colin Powell. Laid him to rest today in a great service, wonderful service, honoring his years of service in the United States military. So I want to say, God bless his family, and may they all receive the praise. Give the military some praise. Retired General Farmer Colin Powell, really appreciate the service that he provided for this country. And now I want to make sure that people, Valley Homes Weekly is on television. They really are helping people and real estate agents and brokers get their property listings on TV. And the goal is simple. Want to recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers to help put their property listings on TV, just like McDonald's does it. Carter Leadership's doing it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate. Work for you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. It's just like a real estate dating app. You can date for interest rates, all fair and love and more. Really do appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and just say play Big C Sports Podcast. Really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. Also, I want to say thank you to Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 100% on its game. Sports fans, when you're watching the big game, eat it with the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat on the Big C Burger? Everybody deserves some exotic meats on their burger, if that makes sense to you. Really love bringing that to you. Give that all some praise. Give them all praise, praise, praise. Really do love that. We got a lot of good things coming to you. As you know, you should know by now, I love honoring the high school basketball and also football. But we have the high school football playoffs are kicking off all over certain parts of the country. Some sections are still doing their regular season. But I want to pay homage to the high school football top 10 Big C Sports. I've been doing this for several years. Sports is a billion-dollar industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this billion-dollar industry. It all starts at the high school level. That's why I love giving out Big C's high school football Friday Night Lights, the top 10 of the universe. Give it out. Give it some praise. All the high school kids around the country. It all starts with you. Be a good teammate. Don't let people drink and drive. We just saw what happened, the tragedy in Las Vegas with the former Oakland Raiders, Henry Ruggs III, drinking and driving. And it led to a fatality, and it doesn't have to happen to anybody. It probably would not have happened had he not been drunk and had he not been driving 156 miles per hour. There's a lot of high school kids. Your whole life's ahead of you. don't let your friends drive drunk. You got to take the keys. You got to call Uber, call a taxi, call a parent. Whatever you do, I want to give the people who make the right choices some praise. Give them all praise that take the keys from somebody trying to drink and drive. Never, ever let that happen. My goodness, a whole life ahead of you. I want to say to the top 10 high school football teams, may you have the very best success. Number one in the country. It seems like it's a broken record, but every year it seems to be number one ranked Mater Dei of Santa Ana. They are 8-0. They sometimes have a hard time scheduling somebody. They've gone outside of the state of California, beating teams from Florida. They've beaten teams from Texas, also New Jersey and Virginia. They tend to beat everybody. Arizona, I mean, they just go everywhere, and they leave no prisoners. Or do they don't take no prisoners? Whatever it is, they tend to beat everybody. They stopped IMG Academy's 40-game win streak just 2 years ago. And it's amazing how that team under Bruce Rollinson keeps rising to the top. And they are ranked number one in California. So they are 8-0 in the season, ranked number one. Give Mater Dei some praise. Beating top teams from Texas this year, as well as also Nevada and California as well. They are 8-0. Number two, IMG Academy. They are 8-0 out of Florida, the top ranked team in the South. Number three, Westlake High School of Texas. They are 9-0, followed by number four, St. John Bosco of California. They are actually in the same league as Mater Dei in the Trinity League. They are 9-1. The only loss came to, come on, guess. You want to guess. They lost to Mater Dei in the Trinity League. Number 5 in the country, Collin Hills out of Georgia. Them Gooder boys are 10-0. They're undefeated. Georgia starts their football a little bit earlier than they do in California. Give them Gooder boys some praise as they are 10-0 in the season, playing in the playoffs tonight in Georgia. Bergen Catholic out of Ordell, New Jersey. They are 9-0 in the season. Number 1 ranked high school team in New Jersey. Number 7, Servite High School of Anaheim. They are 8-2, also from the Trinity League. Their 2 losses on the season, St. John Bosco Bellflower, ranked number 4 in the country, and number 1 Mater Dei, ranked number 1 in the country. Give the Trinity League some praise. And people can say, oh yeah, that's too many teams in one league. They go all over the country and beat the number 1 teams in different states and state champions. You gotta give them some praise. Really appreciate that, the Trinity League. Number 8 in the country is Center Grove. They are 10-0. And they also started their season early. Number 9, Katy, Texas. They are 9-0 down in the great state of Texas. Number 10, Centennial of Corona, California. They are in Southern California in the southern section, the massive southern section. There's about over 20 million people in Southern California, southern section. Give them all some praise. Southern California could take up like 3 states on the East Coast. And so when you see a lot of teams that are ranked in the top 10 of the country, when they come from the southern section, there's a reason there's so many good teams. And think about it for people that say that's too many teams in California. There's a school called Central High School out of Miami, Florida, one of the top ranked teams in Florida. They lost to St. John Bosco. I think it was 35-12. And they scored late. So that was a blowout win by a California team. If you look at Mater Dei of Santa Ana, California, they beat Duncanville of Texas 45-3 in Texas. And that's the only loss for Duncanville this year. One of the top teams in Texas. Anyone can say what they want to say about, well, maybe they're giving too much preparation and favoritism for California. And I'm not saying that at all. They've knocked off some of the top teams in the country. And St. John Bosco of Bellflower, they also beat the top team in Illinois this year. So everybody can say what they want to say. I still give California some praise. I give them praise. I want to talk about some of the... So again, all you high school kids, please get a designated driver. Don't let someone drink and drive. You don't have to learn the hard way. You have your whole life ahead of you. Give the high school kids that do responsible tailgating. That means no alcohol, no drinking and driving. Take the keys, call a cab, call Uber, call Lyft, call a parent. Do not let your friends drink and drive. It's so important to say that. I want to say, are you ready for college football? Of course you are. College football all over this country. Even have some games tonight that have kicked off. Princeton at Dartmouth already underway, 6 o'clock p.m. on ESPNU East Coast time. Virginia Tech, they are playing Boston College at 7:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2. In the Pac-12, down on the farm, the Utah Utes are at the Stanford Cardinals. That's a late game at 10:30 p.m. East Coast time kickoff, so 7:30 p.m. It kicks off on the West Coast on Fox Sports 1. Ironically, the Pac-12, they play a lot of late games. and they're competing with some of the high school football. But give them praise. Give Utah and Stafford praise down on the farm. They're looking to try to climb the ladder in the Pac-12 conference. On Saturday, I got some games I want to bring up that are some big-time games on a national scale. I'm going to start with the West Coast because Utah's at Stanford tonight. Utah's been in the Pac-12 championship game, the winning of the South Division in the last 2 years. They got to get a win at Stanford tonight. Stanford's pretty tough to win against at home. They've also beaten Oregon at home, if that makes sense to you, even though Oregon was missing some of their top players. But number 7, Oregon in some rankings, but number 4 in the bowl rankings. I'm going to say number 4, Oregon. They are at Washington, University of Washington. That game's going to be Saturday at 7:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. And you got to, it's so intense right now because the weather's going to be a little bit rainy. That's what they're predicting up in the great Northwest on Saturday. Should be some rain, about 50 degrees with the temperature. Both of them are used to playing in temperature. And in fact, it's sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with, what's all this exotic meat? And a duck and a husky are exotic meat. Hey, you can laugh all you want, but people eat what they got to eat when you're cold. All fair, that'll work. But think about it. Ohio State, they got to take care of business earlier in the day at Nebraska in the Big Ten. The Buckeyes faithful, they figure to take an interest in the one game out in the Pac-12. That's going to be number 4, Oregon at the Washington Huskies. The Pac-12 contenders, for the most part, have not done themselves a lot of favors, and they haven't had blowout wins. They've had some close wins, but no matter what they do, in the Pac-12, they've beaten the perennial power from the Big Ten on the road, and that's Ohio State, and they did it without their best player, Kayvon Thibodeau, who was not playing in that game. Oregon is the conference's only ranked team in the country at this time, and that win at Ohio State, my goodness, it rings big. Even though the Ducks, they don't look the part at times as front runners, but that, in my opinion, says that Pac-12 football is more difficult than a lot of people want to let on. Teams know each other, no matter what people say. UCLA it was a close win by Oregon over UCLA at the Rose Bowl. UCLA beat LSU. LSU of the SEC knocked off number 20 Florida. People want to keep taking away the credit of LSU, what they've done. Even they got rid of their coach is going to step away. Orgeron's going to step down at the end of the year. But that's an SEC power that the Pac-12 beat. Also, Colorado, they're at the abyss in the Pac-12. They nearly knocked off Texas A&M that beat Alabama. Now, people don't want to talk about that, but Colorado had the lead over Texas A&M until about 3 minutes in that game. And that same Texas A&M team knocked off Alabama when Alabama was undefeated. And people say, yeah, but the Pac-12 doesn't play good football. Really? They gave one touchdown and a field goal to A&M. What did A&M score against Alabama? 40 points? 44? Something like that, 41 points? Just Google it. So the narrative is always how he can put the Pac-12 down, but I believe in the scores. I think Oregon wins that game by 10 points up in the Great Northwest. There's another big game. Speaking of the SEC, number 14, Auburn. They're at number 12, Texas A&M. I just talked about Texas A&M. Texas A&M is ranked number 12 in the country. They beat Colorado in the Pac-12 10-7 earlier in the year. Think about that. They're ranked 12 in the country. Oh, the Pac-12 doesn't play good football, really? Then how did they just get a win over Colorado and they're ranked 12 in the country and they beat Alabama? It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. It's the lone contest matching the ranked opponents this week. It's a big one in the SEC West. It's basically going to eliminate a team that loses. Now, the Texas A&M Aggies, they have 2 conference losses, but also a win. They got a big win against Alabama. The Tigers get a crack at the Crimson Tide at the end of the month, the big Iron Bowl, they call it. It's a must-win game at College Station. To maximize that game is important. Auburn quarterback Bo Nix is the real deal. Continue to have pretty good play, and we'll see what happened as they avoided that disaster against Georgia State that played last night. And then you have running back Tank Bigsby, has a lot of support. Auburn has a good offensive line. A&M's at home. And when you think about it, they rarely lose a game at home. Don't be surprised if Texas A&M knocks off Auburn down in the SEC because the 12 man's legit. They really are legit. I'm going to go number 3, Michigan State in the Big Ten at Purdue. Not going to be an upset. Not an upset, but there's talk that Mel Tucker might take the LSU job. Just thought. Are they focused? He said he's not going to take it. He also said at Colorado he was not going to take the Michigan State job. But if they offer him $10 million a year, he's probably going to get on a plane tonight. Anyway, 3:30 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. Fresh off their biggest win in several years, the Spartans, they must avoid the letdown and the euphoria from beating up on Michigan. Who's got it better than us? Well, Michigan State right now, Jim Harbaugh. The Boilermakers have been boiling up an upset special. I don't think the upset's going to happen, but how can Michigan State get up again after knocking off Michigan at home and then going on the road to play Purdue? The Boilermakers are boiling up something fishy. Something fishy is being boiled up down there, but the Spartans, if they run the ball, they'll be fine. Think about this guy. A top 10 upset last week really wasn't an upset. Don't call it an upset, the great LL Cool J. If they can run Kenneth Walker III, give him 25 carries, Michigan State wins that game at Purdue. He's a solid running back. He's going to be an NFL player. He's in talk for Heisman Trophy contender. I mean, he's a good player. He knows how to run the ball. He has inside-outside moves, can give it the hip and take it away. 5 touchdowns last week over Michigan, which is a much better team than Purdue. I'm giving the Boilermakers a chance to stay close in the first half, but that ball gets lighter as you run it more. And give the running back Kenneth Walker III, give him 20, 25 carries, you'll win that game if you're the Spartans, if that makes sense to you. I'm going to look at a team that feels like nobody's respecting them, and that's number 9 Wake Forest. They're at North Carolina, and they'll most likely get beat. Mac Brown, you hear that, Mac Brown? It's a 12 o'clock kickoff East Coast time on ABC Sports. You're going to hear this talk about people don't respect Wake Forest. If they can beat North Carolina on the road, they'll get all the respect they need. It's the big 4 staples in the Atlantic Coast Conference for decades when you look at Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and Virginia that gave up 66 points last week to BYU. But think about this. The expansion landed them in opposite divisions, so when they were off rotation against each other in leagues, they agreed to a home-and-home that would not count in the conference standings to keep their long-standing rivalry alive. As far as the ACC race is concerned, the importance of this game for Wake Forest, next week is a home showdown. North Carolina State will likely determine the ACC Atlantic Division title, but I think North Carolina is going to knock off these Demon Deacons. It's just my opinion. They've been riding high all year. Hey, but if they get the win, they get everybody's respect. We talk about paying homage to the military. I want to say, pay homage to the United States military. Give military some praise. The Air Force game follows a veteran of the Air Force. The Air Force versus Army, 11:30 a.m. kickoff East Coast time on CBS Sports. The second game of the Commander-in-Chief's Trophy Series will be at its neutral site at Globe Life Field in Arlington, the home of the Texas Rangers for the next couple of years. The Falcons, who won at Navy in September, look to complete the series sweep of the Navy and the Academy sweep. The Black Knights have also had plans to get that trophy. They don't want to give that trophy back. They claimed it in 2020. I think that when the military get together, it's more than just football. It's about service for this country. The Black Knights have a slew of ball carriers. When they need to throw, they can throw it. They turn to quarterback Jabari Lewis, who's hit on 14 of his 17 pass attempts with 3 scores. I really love the military academies when they play. To me, it doesn't matter who wins. I just love giving them praise. Give the military academy some praise. Give them all praise, praise, praise. I love the military academy. I love how they do so much to honor our country, and I wish them all nothing but the best. There's a couple of more big games in college football I want to talk about. We have Liberty at Ole Miss. That's a noontime kickoff on the SEC network. Ohio State at Nebraska, noontime kickoff on Fox Sports. Kansas State at Kansas, interstate rival game, noontime kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Pittsburgh was beaten last week, so their hopes of an SEC championship are dim now. They're at Duke. That's a noontime kickoff on the ACC network. SMU's playing at Memphis. That's noontime kickoff also. Missouri's at number 1 ranked Georgia at 12 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Georgia defense legit. That's a legit defense. Give them praise, praise, praise. So Missouri Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs are sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with what's up? That's exotic meats. Hey, Tigers and dogs, people eat what they got to eat, okay? Georgia Tech, the Yellow Jackets at the Miami Hurricanes. Appalachian State at Arkansas State. So Georgia Tech and Miami kick off 12:30 p.m. East Coast time on ESPN3. Appalachian State at Arkansas State at 2 p.m. Kickoff on ESPN. You have Idaho State at BYU. So that's a 3 p.m. kickoff on ESPN3. You have in the Pac-12, Cal Berkeley at Arizona, 3 p.m. kickoff, Pac-12 network. You also have Cincinnati. Man, they feel like they have no respect. They're like the late, great Rodney Dangerfield, no respect for Cincinnati. But Tulsa's coming to town. It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2. They can earn some respect if they beat them by 5 touchdowns. We'll see if that happens. Navy is at Notre Dame, 3:30 p.m. kickoff on NBC Sports. Notre Dame always home of NBC Sports. Oklahoma State is at West Virginia, 3:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. You have Baylor looking at the Big 12 title. They're at TCU. That's a lookout game. TCU let go of their coach over the week. It's a 3:30 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports. You don't know about upset specials, how a team will kind of pull together. We'll see what happens. You have in the Pac-12, Oregon State, they're at Colorado, 7 p.m. kickoff on the Pac-12 network. In the big game in the Mountain West, Boise State is at Fresno State at 7 p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports Net. Bulldog Stadium will be packed for the Boise State and Fresno State game is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger and it comes with all this exotic meat and a Bronco and a Bulldog are exotic meat. Don't look at me. If people eat what they got to eat when they're hungry. All for another word. I'm telling you, LSU is at Alabama. It's a 7 p.m. kickoff on ESPN, or it's going to be on CBS. They haven't decided that yet. That's a big game. Ed Orgeron's going out. Alabama has to win big in that game to see how they stay close to Georgia for that SEC title that's showing up soon. Auburn also has, Alabama-Auburn coming up soon. Not a game that Alabama and Nick Saban can overlook because LSU is out for showing that they do have a good football team. I think they'll hang close in the first part of the game, but I think Alabama runs away. We have Indiana at Michigan. Michigan has got to get back on track. 7:30 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports. And Clemson's at Louisville. 7:30 p.m. kickoff on the ACC network. In the Pac-12, we have USC at Arizona State. That's a 9:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. Out in the desert, San Jose State is at Nevada. 10 p.m. kickoff East Coast time on Fox Sports 2. And then San Diego State, they're over on the island at Hawaii. 11 p.m. kickoff on Fox Sports 1. Give college football some praise. Give it all praise, college football. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk more about, are you ready for some NFL football? In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Are you ready for some football? Of course you are, NFL football. Last night we had some Thursday night football. It wasn't really worth watching until the last quarter. Indianapolis Colts got back on the winning track with a 45-30 beatdown of the New York Jets. The Jets were still living in the past when they had the upset over Cincinnati over in the Meadowlands just last week. But not so fast, my friend. I'm telling you, Indianapolis had a game last night. But again, it's the Jets, even though the Jets had a little bit of mojo coming in because of the upset win over the Cincinnati Bengals. But that turned out to be what I didn't think they would put 45 points on the Jets defense. But they did. Robert Saleh's a defensive specialist, but I still think they were kind of had a hangover from the big upset win they had at home versus Cincinnati. But it's all fair and love and war. Congratulations to the Indianapolis Colts. They get a win at home on Thursday Night Football. And I love their all-blue jerseys with the blue tops and the blue bottoms, the white helmets with the horseshoe on the side. All fair and level war. Going to go into Week 9 NFL's football rankings. We have Big C Sports. The predictions coming up. Atlanta, they're 3-4 at the New Orleans Saints at our 5-2. It's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on Fox Sports. And the Saints are favored by 6.5. And they're going to have to find a quarterback that's going to get it done. So the Falcons, they're kind of an up-and-down team, 3-4 in the season. You got to decide what quarterback you're going to start for the Saints. Will it be Taysom Hill? Maybe, but can he go the whole distance? We know Jameis Winston's out for the season with the ACL tear against Tampa Bay last week. The Falcons must find ways to help out with they have a defensive tackle, Grady Jarrett. They have to also draw up a blitz package that's going to find a way to keep the Saints offense that's very explosive. But who's going to throw the ball to him? On the offense, Atlanta rookie tight end Kyle Pitts is going to have a big game against that Saints defense that just pressured Tom Brady and really beat him up last week, had a pick 6 to end the game. And Brady's a better quarterback than Matt Ryan. Look for Ryan to also throw an interception against that Saints defense. The Saints they've beaten the Falcons quarterback Matt Ryan more than any other team. They know his tendencies. They know the tendencies on Tom Brady. They know how he's vulnerable. Wide receiver Michael Thomas. The Saints lean hard on that dual threat running back Alvin Kamara. They don't have Michael Thomas. He's out for the season. You know, there's some talk that Odell Beckham's going to be released Monday by the Cleveland Browns and signed by somebody on Tuesday. But he's going to be a disruptor no matter where he goes. But it wouldn't be bad if they brought him down to New Orleans. Just a thought. Alvin Kamara gives him the ball a lot. And Mark Ingram focus on a physical game for the Saints. Their defense is going to help them win that game. They're going to beat the Falcons. And I'm going to go with the Saints to win that game at home. It's all fair in level war. Are you ready for some football in Dallas? How about some Cowboys? The Cowboys are 6-1. They're 8-0 against the spread. They're going to host the Denver Broncos at 4-4. At 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Cowboys are favored by 9.5. Yep, 9.5. That's a lot. But I don't doubt Dallas getting it. It's hard to say they're going to win by 9.5, though. It just really is. You got to figure a way to stop the Dallas passing attack, early down pressure on the quarterback. Touchdown Dak Prescott should be back. The Cowboys thrive on rarely seen third downs. On offense, touchdown Teddy Bridgewater should push the ball downfield, but he still has a bad foot. So he's not going to be a run threat. So Dallas can lean back and blitz if they want to. The Dallas Cowboys should be able to pressure Bridgewater and force him to have some dangerous throws. Look for the Dallas defense to get at least a pick, maybe 2 against Bridgewater and turn the ball over. When you think about it on offense, you're going to have a strong dose of Dallas running back Ezekiel Elliott and also Tony Pollard, who's probably a better running back. But now that Ezekiel doesn't have to bear all the pressure, he has Pollard. He's even gotten fresher legs too. And when you think about it, Dak Prescott will be back in the saddle. And Dallas is strong. They are 8-0 against the spread. So that 9.5 spread out of Vegas might be the time they don't cover the spread. Just a thought. I mean, it's hard to go 9-0 against the spread anywhere. But I'm going to go with Dallas. How about them Cowboys getting that win? They're a very good football team. I'm going to look at a game that has maybe some upset special written all over it. New England Patriots 4-4 on the road at the Carolina Panthers 4-4. A 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on CBS Sports. Now, the Patriots are 3.5-point favorites. They beat the Chargers in Los Angeles, but the Chargers gave that game away, if that makes sense to you. I think some people know what that means. Now, Sam Darnold, concussion protocol, or P.J. Walker under center for Carolina. New England's going to have to cut the opposites off. Think about it. They got to stop the backfield. McCaffrey's going to play again. He had that hamstring issue. He's back, maybe not 100%. But even if he comes in at 85%, 85%, he's good to run the ball out of the backfield and keep the defense at bay. That's just my opinion. He doesn't have to be 100%. Now, I think about the Panthers committed to the running game. They rushed 47 times for 203 yards last week. So they don't even need a healthy Sam. They just got to run the ball. And now they get back touchdown Christian McCaffrey. That's enough to upset New England. If you think about it, the Panthers defense, their top 10 defense against the run. They have Shaq Thompson. He's back in the saddle. He's healthy. In order for them to succeed, they have to have a committee. You got Chuba Hubbard, Royce Freeman, Amir Abdullah, and possibly the running of Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be back. They have to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball against Bill Belichick's team. They have to travel from the West Coast and then get on the road and travel again to Carolina. That's a lot of traveling for a team trying to win against a top 10 defense. Wouldn't be surprised if you see the Carolina Panthers win this game, even though Las Vegas said New England's a 3.5-point favorite. We got to see. That's a field goal game either way you look at it. Minnesota, I'm going to go the Minnesota Vikings at the Baltimore Ravens. Come on, Ravens. Baltimore Ravens. Minnesota Vikings 3-4. What an upset. I won't even call it an upset. They lost to the Cowboys at home, which are a very good team, but they didn't have Dak Prescott. They had Kirk Cousins. 3-4 on the road at Baltimore. Coming off the bye week, they're 5-2. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on Fox Sports. And the Ravens are favored by 6.5. And the crowd would be amazing because they're hungry. If they score first and make Baltimore abandon the run game, they'll have the edge. If quarterback Kirk Cousins can cause wide receivers Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen to run open pass patterns and connect with them, they'll have a chance in the intermediate pass game. Could be a long day for Baltimore's defense, but I doubt it. This team couldn't even score a lot of points at home. They didn't even get 3 touchdowns at home against Dallas. I think Baltimore had a good time to be rested up after they had that beat down by the Cincinnati Bengals. They need to get the running game going, continue to pass effectively. Their defense has been one of the worst tackling units in the NFL, but I think having that week off helps them get fresh again. And the Ravens can bring the ball carriers a very effective run game, and I think they can prevent what should be the short gains by the Minnesota Vikings. I'm looking for Superman Jackson to play at his MVP form, maybe at least a rushing touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Vegas has them as 6.5-point favorite, and I think they'll get that at home. I think they will get that at home, all fair and level. Cleveland, this is for you. It's a battle of Ohio. The biggest battle is Odell Beckham's been put on waivers. So they're going to waive him. Someone has to absorb that $7 million contract, which is going to hurt a lot of teams from picking him up. Who wants to pick up $7 million? And a guy that's never happy no matter where he goes. Maybe he should play golf. He'd have the ball every time he wanted to. Then wouldn't have to share with anybody. But when you think about it, Cleveland's 4-4 at Cincinnati 5-3. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff East Coast time, Sunday on CBS Sports. And the odds makers have the Bengals by 2.5. They came off of a upset loss on the road at New York. They have to be feeling pretty upset about that. But Cleveland, you have Baker Mayfield versus touchdown Joe Burrow. You got to look into this game. Regardless of whether it's quarterback Baker Mayfield, a shoulder injury, or Case Keenum under center, I think the Browns need to run the football, and they have elite running back in Kareem Hunt. He averages 5 yards a carry, and Cincinnati's defense has shown lapses, especially in their letdown loss to the New York Jets. That has to make you wonder a little bit. Now, you have wide receiver Lamar Chase. He's going to get his yards. They got to be creative in moving the pocket around because Cleveland has a good defense. Quarterback Joe Burrow, man, has to be a little bit shaken after the loss against the Jets. Cleveland's a much better defensive team than what the Jets have. The offensive lines are going to have trouble with Cleveland's pass rush. Defensively, bringing extra pressure should fluster. I mean, it's all fair and love and war. I really think the Cleveland pass rush is going to be the story of this game. I just feel that if they run the ball and pressure, Saleh's a good defensive mind, and he slowed down Burrow in the game in New York. I'm going to go with Cleveland to get this win. I know Vegas has them. They're underdog. They're on the road. But Cleveland got rid of a headache, in my opinion, by letting Odell Beckham go. It's all on Baker Mayfield in this game. If he can't get this done, maybe they'll look at letting go of Baker Mayfield by the end of this season. Because they were saying that Odell Beckham is a problem in that locker room. A lot of athletes like him. But if Baker Mayfield and the staff feel that Beckham's a problem with Cleveland, if they go to 4-5, there'll be a lot of grumbling in Cleveland. But I'm going to say they're going to go on the road and get the win. That's a big if, Kareem Hunt runs the ball 25 times. If he doesn't run 25 times, they probably lose. Keep in mind how often they let him run compared to letting Baker Mayfield pass. That's my opinion in that game. I'm going to go Cleveland. This is for you on the road in the battle for Ohio. But just keep this in mind. They got to run the ball 25 times with Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go Houston and Miami. They're both 1-7. It's a 1 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on Fox Sports. The Dolphins are favored by 5.5. Really? 5.5. Quarterback Tyrod Taylor hasn't played since leaving the Week 2 game with a hamstring injury. Might return. Houston needs help to limit Miami's quartet of playmakers. Wide receiver Jalen Waddell, and wide receiver Devontae Parker, tight end Mike Gesicki, and running back Myles Gaskin. They all have some mismatches in their game. Dolphins, since quarterback Big Tua Tagovailoa, when you think about this, return, the offense has looked better, but the Dolphins are coming off another tough loss to Buffalo. Houston's not Buffalo. If the offensive line can protect Tua and the pass catchers can get open, the Dolphins can win this game, and they got to get a win. Come on, Flores. You're at home. You got to find a way to get a win. Buffalo at Jacksonville. Buffalo's 5-2. Jacksonville's 1-6. This game is sponsored by the Big C Burger. It's a tasty burger that comes with what's all this exotic meats? Last I checked, Buffalo and a Jaguar are exotic meats. Give them some praise. It's a 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on CBS Sports. The Bills are favored by 14.5. That's a lot of points. They'll probably cover. Quarterback Josh Allen, he should use his arm and legs to make sure his team gets ahead early. And on defense, Jordan Poyer in the secondary need to limit the shifted Jamal Agnew. There's a lot of much more explosiveness to the Jaguars roster in a scenario where they're without injured James Robinson. Jacksonville has to throw the football a lot. But Buffalo's so dominant defensively. Touchdown Stephon Diggs has to get his hands on the game ball. They got to throw to him early and often. I think about it when the Seattle with an ankle injury, when you think about what happened, it boils down to how Seattle, I think Robinson had an ankle injury in week 8. The team is lost without him. And Trevor Lawrence and the offense have only put up 7 points in Seattle, even though it was rainy. They're home now. Defensively, the Jaguars have the slow receivers touchdown Stephon Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders. How about Diggs gets 2 touchdowns in this game? I think Buffalo covers 14.5. They're a very good team. Las Vegas, the Raiders, they're 5-2 at the New York Football Giants, 2-6. East Coast time Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. kickoff on CBS Sports. And the Raiders going across the country in an early game, favored by 3.5. How will they play in an early game? They won an early game at Pittsburgh early in the year. This is at New York. The Raiders have a lot of junk going on because of what happened with Henry Ruggs III and the tragedy with the car accident. I don't know if their head's in the game. It's an early game for the Raiders. The Giants got to beat somebody. The Raiders always come down to earth. The Raiders are favored by 3.5 in an early game in New York. New York's depleted. I'm going to say the Raiders win by a field goal. So they're not going to cover the 3.5. But I think they get a field goal win. The reason I say that, Las Vegas has struggled on the ground, but New York has one of the worst run defenses in the league. If running back Josh Jacobs gets the ball rolling, running the ball 25 times, it's going to open things up for Derek Carr, who can throw the ball downfield the way he did against Denver and also Pittsburgh when they went back to the East earlier in the year in the early time zone. Defensively, the Giants need to remain fundamentally sound, not allow touchdown Derek Carr to go deep, but I think he will get over the top. But there's still some issues with the Raiders, all the stuff they've dealt with over the week. But I think they have the offense that can score points, and the onus will fall on cornerback James Bradbury and rookie linebacker Azeez Ojulari in New York's inconsistent pass rush. I think Carr's going to light them up, but they're probably only going to win by a field goal. It's an early game. They have a lot of junk to take off. I'm going with the Raiders getting the win, but maybe by a field goal, not 3.5. The Chargers, my goodness, what's going on with the Chargers? The Chargers are 4-3, and they're at Philadelphia 3-5. It's a 4:05 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on CBS Sports. The Chargers going across to the East Coast and favored by 1.5. I don't buy that. Philadelphia ran the ball against the Lions. They scored 44 points on the road. They're at home. The Chargers are doing that nosedive that they've always tried to do. I'm going to go with the Eagles to get a win at home. Among the league leaders in sacks, the Chargers and quarterback pressures don't need to dictate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Linebacker Joey Bosa and matchup Jordan off of the tackle militia will be a very good matchup. Quarterback Justin Herbert had a rollback game at home against the New England Patriots. I don't know if he's going to shake that off yet. They got to get up and go across the country. It's a late game for them. They got to get running backs Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson involved early in the passing game because Herbert's been shaky lately. Jalen Hurts had a good game handing off. Don't try to go pass for pass. Use a run game. The Eagles got to have some memory of what happened against Detroit, some muscle memory. They got to run the ball early and often, utilize the play-action pass so Hurts can get a little bit better look downfield. I'm going to go with it's not really an upset if the Eagles win. I'm going to go with the Eagles to get that win over the Chargers because the Eagles, they got to learn something from the 44 points they scored against Detroit last week. All's fair in level war. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. I'm going to talk about Green Bay at Kansas City When we come back, in the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast networks all over the universe and 4 TV platforms. Give that some praise. Give that some praise. So with COVID, quarterback Aaron Rodgers not going to play in the game. Green Bay is 7-1 at Kansas City, 4-4. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on Fox Sports. And the Chiefs are favored by 7.5. The crowd would be crazy. Love gets a chance to play. What's Love got to do? We'll find out what Love got to do with it. Jordan Love. So they got to lean on the running game with quarterback Aaron Rodgers out because of COVID violations. He lied to people about being vaccinated. So COVID-19 protocols, and he has to sit out 10 days. It's a shame because how many people have been around Aaron Rodgers that are older and may have been compromised, going to parties, just irresponsible. I like Aaron Rodgers as an athlete, but that's irresponsible, especially with people dealing with COVID. And you have the organization around the Green Bay Packers. They probably knew about it too. It's called special treatment. He wasn't treated as poorly as Kyrie Irving in NBA basketball. But it's all fair and love and war. With that said, Jordan Love will have to make his first career start in the great atmosphere that Arrowhead Stadium has in Kansas City, Missouri. Expect the Packers to make Aaron Jones, the running back, and A.J. Dillon the focal point of this game. They're going to have to run the ball heavy. Kansas City doesn't have the best run stoppers. The Chiefs have allowed the most yards on the ground in the NFL this season. That's a clue. Jordan Love, just hand the ball off, run it. The Chiefs got to get right, but who knows? They got to limit mistakes. They got to have a better scheme. Stop turning the ball over. For the Chiefs to get either running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he should return from injured reserve, or running back Darrell Williams going against a defense that allows an average 212 rushing yards per game. Also look for a touchdown Patrick Mahomes to play better. He has to find a way to get the ball to wide receiver Tyreek Hill and tight end Travis Kelce and get it in space. Even Kelce had a turnover last week, but that happens. You're not going to go all year long without having turnovers. But something's wrong with the Kansas City right now. It's a chance for them to get right. I'm going to give Kansas City that win. I don't know if they'll cover the 7.5 because their run defense is not good enough. They barely beat the New York Giants. They had a hard time with the New York Giants. Green Bay is a better team than the New York Giants. But I'm going to give Kansas City that win. Not by 7.5. They'll probably win by 6, in my opinion. All fair and level war. Are you ready for some football? San Francisco party! Arizona, the Cardinals 7-1. They fly into San Francisco. That's right now. You got to look at the 49ers. Them good old boys they got another win that they had to get. Niners are 3-4 in the season. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff, East Coast time, Sunday on Fox Sports. There was some talk that game might be played a little earlier, but as far as I know, it's going to be 4:25 East Coast time, Sunday on Fox. But again, I hear that it might be moved up. I haven't had confirmation on that, but I doubt it's all fair and level work. The Niners are favored by 1.5 points. Okay? That's a thin lining at home. Because Kyler Murray is banged up. He has a bad hitch in his giddy up. If Kyler Murray is either hobbled or unavailable, then you have maybe Colt McCoy. But Cardinals have to lean heavy on a dose of running back Chase Edmonds and James Conner against a 49er defensive line that can be run on. The Cardinals need to have the control of the offensive line. I think the 49ers got what they needed last week when they went to Chicago and got a win over the Bears. They played from behind. Jimmy G got his confidence back. I think they have found their running game in San Francisco. Also, their passing game was good last week against the Bears. It's not really an upset if they knock off Arizona because they only lost 17-10 down in the desert earlier in the year. This time they're at home. The crowd should be nuts. Looking for the 49ers with quarterback Jimmy G. Is efficient. He makes good reads. He makes the run game easier for running back Elijah Mitchum and opens up the entire offense. You know, he can throw deep, too. They have some great running backs. They got to get Ayuk in the ball game, and I really like the way the 49ers have been playing. I'm going to 49ers by a field goal. The 49ers got them Sunday by a field goal, maybe say a 24-21 win, the Niners over Arizona. Again, Arizona only scored 17 points at home against this 49er defense. Give the 49ers some praise. All fair and love and war. The big game Sunday night, it's not as big as it was. Touchdown, Derrick Henry is injured now. Tennessee Titans 6-2 at the LA Rams 7-1. 8:20 p.m. kickoff East Coast time Sunday on NBC Sports at beautiful SoFi Stadium. And the Rams are favored by 7.5. Without touchdown Derrick Henry, they're going to run Adrian Peterson. And they got Von Miller. With Aaron Donald, I like the Rams covering this 7.5. Tannehill cannot beat that Rams defense. Ramsey's going to lock down whatever receiver they put him on. Here's Julio Jones is probably going to be back in the game also. But without all-pro running back touchdown Derrick Henry, they're going to have to lean on quarterback Ryan Tannehill. And the passing game, Tennessee's offensive line has struggled to protect Tannehill, allowing the 4th most sacks in the NFL. And they haven't even gone up against Aaron Donald with the Rams. Also, you got the good old boy, Von Miller, that just came over from Denver. I think it's going to be a blitz kind of game for the Rams. Aaron Donald's going to get at least a sack or two. Von Miller may get his first sack. They have a relentless pass rush. Ramsey can lock things down in the secondary. All season long, the offense has gone through Stafford and wide receiver Cooper Kupp. There's no reason for that to stop. And against the Tennessee team coming in town, who have been, kind of suspect to the deep pass. The Rams can throw the ball deep because Stafford's the real deal. He has a big-time arm. They'll get the ball back a lot because their defense doesn't have to deal with touchdown Derrick Henry moving the sticks. Adrian Peterson, leave him in as a blocker so Tannehill has much time to pass. That's my opinion. He's not going to stress the defense, Adrian Peterson. But I'm going to go with the Rams at SoFi Center, getting the big wins, all spread number one. On Monday Night Football, Chicago 3-5 at Pittsburgh 4-3. 8:15 p.m. kickoff East Coast time. Monday on NBC Sports. And the Steelers are 6.5-point favorites at home. The Bears, they had a good taste of quarterback Justin Fields, how good he is against the 49ers last week in a loss. He rushed for 100 yards against the Niners and passed for nearly 200. He's very athletic. He continues to grow as a passer. The Bears cannot afford to put him in harm's way against the Steelers. Man, the Steelers can win by just scoring 20 points. That's how good their defense has been. You think about it, very physical. So running back Khalil Roberts is actually Herbert's going to have to be the guy they have to go to and try to just control the clock against the Steel Curtain Part 2 defense. Pittsburgh will need to sort out who will be kicking after Chris Boswell entered the game in the week with a concussion protocol. Steelers have found their balance on offense, and they must continue to mix the run and the pass together. Big Ben Roethlisberger playing a little bit better. He's healthy. Get off to a slow start. Chicago's pass rush got beaten up by Jimmy G last week. Big Ben can do the same kind of thing. At the same time, Khalil Mack might be back this game. I don't know for sure. Defensively, the Steelers need to keep doing what they've been doing all year and playing smart, and they haven't given up. I mean, you score 20 points for the Steelers, you win. So I'm going to go with the Steelers to win that game. They're going to most likely cover their favorite by 6.5. They'll win that on Monday night. It's all fair in love and war. If you're ready for some football, and you know it, clap your hands. NFL football on Sunday night over the weekend. All fair in love and war. We're looking to a lot of good football being played from high school to college and also NFL. It's all fair and love and war. May everyone please don't let your friends drink and drive. Man, I hate that. All fair and love and war. I'm going to touch on NBA basketball tonight's schedule. Tonight's the night for NBA basketball. Are you ready for some NBA basketball? A lot of people are. Tonight's kind of a good schedule. Brooklyn's at Detroit, the Bad Boys, 7 p.m. tip-off. Already on the way. Memphis Grizzlies at Washington. That's also a 7 p.m. tip-off. San Antonio is going to go down to Orlando. That's also tipped off at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Cleveland, this is for you. They're out of the country. They're playing at Toronto. Yeah, out of the country. Playing at the Toronto Raptors, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 7:30 p.m. tip-off. The New York Knicks at the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending NBA World Champion Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee got to start playing better with King Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's a team. New York, big-time TV matchup with the whole East Coast tuning in to see what the Knicks can do against the defending NBA champions. The Los Angeles Clippers at Minnesota in the Great Lakes region, 8 o'clock first, or 8, it's the tip-off at 8 o'clock p.m. Charlotte is in Northern California at the Sacramento Kings. That's a 10 o'clock p.m. tip-off at 7 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast. And then the New Orleans Pelicans at the Golden State Warriors. The Splash Brothers at beautiful Chase Center in Northern California. and the crowd should be going nuts. Steph Curry for three! Steph Curry for three in the house. Golden State probably, at this time, the best team in basketball. Just a thought. Either one or two, but I'm going to put them as the top team in basketball. I'm going to close out on the ice. I know a lot of people are going to have ice in their libations over the weekend. Please, people, don't let anyone drink and drive. If you know anyone, I know sports and people like to celebrate and party, but too many people just have too many bad things happening from drinking and driving. Don't let people drive if they're going to be drinking. On the NHL on the ice, Friday night's game, Chicago's at Winnipeg, 8 o'clock p.m., dropping the puck. New York Rangers at Edmonton, that's a 9 p.m. drop of the puck. Arizona at Anaheim at 10 p.m., drop of the puck, East Coast time. Nashville's at Vancouver at 10 p.m., and New Jersey's at Los Angeles at 10:30 p.m. drop of the puck. It's all fair in love and war. I wish everybody nothing but the best on this beautiful weekend coming up. May everybody, it might be rainy in most parts of the country as we close out NASCAR. Bubba Wallace, the only black driver in the NASCAR's top-level Cup Series, got his first victory of the year at the Yellowwood 500 in Talladega. May you all drive safe. If you want to speed, be on a racetrack. Don't do it in city streets. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Bodini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I eat all these exotic meats in a big cheeseburger. It makes me feel light on my feet. That's why I float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I rumble, young man, rumble because of all these big cheeseburgers. Rumble, young man, rumble. I love rumble, young man, rumble. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. You hear that, Phoenix Suns owners? No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you, if anybody's going through that garbage, please pick up the phone and ask for help, because no one should ever have to deal with that intimidation. As we always tell you on every Big City Sports Show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day. Please be safe. No drinking and driving over the weekend. Thank you for following Big City Sports Podcast.